as we get started on this Monday morning live. A lot of things are taking off in a direction where we thought we might have some volatility to the upside here this morning. For anybody who was able to watch the live yesterday, it was great. But I also put out a video that was about 12 to 13 minutes. Went over all of the details, went over why I thought that XRP could possibly start on an uptrend this weekend, coming out of it into Monday. How we could have some volatility in the market. XRP looks like it put in a shoulder here, possible breakout attempt here. If it does, we'll come up to that $1.54 200-day in the immediate short term. So I'm going to be paying a very close attention to how this is starting to play out here as it stayed on that same objective narrative here. Dan, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tons on 6+ months with the XRP Predictor along with Josh. Oliver Marks, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tons on for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge along with Mark Caston. Ben Graham, John Allen, welcome in. Frankie Fresh, welcome in to you and Janine. Hope you're all having a blessed start to the day. Janine, I love you, and I'm glad to see you as well, Frankie. And thanks for that support over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Mark Caston, over 1 year. Totally awesome. 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. I greatly appreciate that show of support, everybody. Mr. Stott, welcome in, over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Hope Mrs. Stott is doing well as well. She's also over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Ben Graham, welcome in. CFD Adam, thanks for 2 months with Dust House Crypto News. So this morning we're getting some upward volatility. The question is, does it remain through the volatile time in the morning? Usually about 10 a.m., 9:30-ish. Now it's an hour ahead of where it used to be, so technically we're in that zone already. So we'll see what kind of volatility is taken up this morning. It looks like we're going to the upside, at least as of right now. Anything can change as the morning starts to go, especially if this invalidates itself. But as of right now, I'm liking what I'm seeing. The market seemingly is doing what we need it to do. Ethereum's over 2,000. Bitcoin's pushing that 69K level pretty strongly. So we'll go over this in a very unified way. We'll go over the chart for XRP. We'll take a look at XDC, HBAR, Algo, and just kind of see the general narrative as well. So I do appreciate everybody who was here this morning. My content is not reaching out also great. I'm being, I don't know, shadow banned or however you want to call it on YouTube, but it's definitely not being pushed out very much. Even my short this morning barely got around. So it's always a blessing to see some of you in here. And we strive to find an even bigger audience each and every day. So if you could hit that like button and consider sharing this, it'd be great. Good morning. 9:56 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, March 9th, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I put a graphic up, and I kind of titled it this way because I wanted everybody to see just how many people were down holding XRP, which is actually a good sign. I know it doesn't seem like it, but when you have so many people in the red, that's actually a good sign for some kind of volatility to the upside if we can find the appropriate moment. And I think right now it is aiming more towards a push up rather than the immediate push down, whether it's to fill out an imbalance or not. It seems to be working its way in the upward direction. William, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Chuck, good morning. There's Mrs. Stott, welcome into you, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Trading with J. Wright, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 4 years with the XRP Phoenix badge. Much love to all of you. David Witten, good morning. Garris Pulling, thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And that is my face superimposed on that emoji badge. Bearded Viking, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Meteor as we continue to pray for Mighty Marcus and his continued healing as he continues to fight the good fight. The salvation for you and your wife to receives God grace and be able to push forward. I really appreciate that. Obey and consume. Yes, indeed. They live, we sleep. Welcome in, my friend. So what we're seeing this morning, XRP broke out of a short-term pattern consolidation. We talked about this, what looked like a descending wedge that had formed yesterday, and now that it pushed out, the technical move up is going to, first layer is going to get us around $1.38. However, in the futures market, we talked very cleanly yesterday when it was still closed about the fact that we had a descending wedge and XRP should be aiming up towards that descending triangle area. And the 200-day right now at $1.53 would be the technical move up here. And it would happen in a rather quick way. And that's the target out of this descending wedge in the futures. I mean, in the XRP futures, which is just the CME pricing. So that's looking pretty good. XRP is looking good. Bitcoin's over 69K, which is exactly where we would want to see it this morning to have some upward volatility. Now we just have to make sure, and I put this yesterday just so everybody could see in case it comes up here, that should bring us up to at least 70 to 72K. But then we have to make sure it doesn't put in a right shoulder. So that's why I put it out just like that. So I was pretty comfortable thinking that we would come up here in at least the short term. And now we're going to see if we can get some real upward volatility. Like I said, XRP could have some 17 cents here, which would make it about a 15% rally here. So let's see if we can get this going here. Let's see if it can start to push out. I have my special keen interest on XDC, H-bar, and Algo. So I went through a direction. I went through XDC, H-bar, and Algo and XRP for this push up. And, you know, I did it pretty nicely the way I separate it between XDC, H-bar, and Algo. More money in XDC by virtue, but there's a decent amount in H-bar and Algo for this movement. And we'll see how it plays out. Mr. Euler, thanks for being in Tom's Arm for over 1 year at the I Told You So Bad, Joseph Euler. And They Live, We Sleep received a gifted membership back in Tom's Army for over your second month with the Dusty's Auto Script News. How awesome is that? I already seen you commenting, and now you got a gifted sub this morning. That's incredible. I love seeing that. So that makes me happy this morning. But if you guys stick around, I'm going to give you a very detailed look into XRP. We're going to spend a lot of time on XRP this morning, because we have a couple of different things that can go on here. We're still not close to the 200-day in a lot of ways. No, I don't have anything staked. This isn't the staking time, in my opinion, because when you stake, you can't just unstake them right away. This is still in the swing trading philosophy until it proves otherwise. So, for transparency, I bought it last night, everything I'm talking about. So nothing's really moved. I mean, it just... The Bitcoin's moved farther than this. I know there's been a couple other things that have moved harder. But right now we're kind of just going through the motions. XRP starting that trajectory up. We're outside of this pattern consolidation. And I still in my gut feel like we could come up to the wave E push through exhaustion, which would be pushing us towards the ABCDE move, as we've already had the D wave corrective. If this is to play out, we do have to invalidate certain movements, but this is the start of a trek up. This is what we want to see in the morning. Let's see. This is not completely accurate. It's pretty accurate, but not completely accurate for some reason. Probably because I was looking at it on my phone, which is normal. So you can see more of how it's back tested. I don't know why it always does that, but it back tested even this part of the descending wedge. And I think it can move out all the way into that wavy expansion. I've not changed the tune. It's just overall, we'll continue to look at this market from a micro to a macro. And if you guys didn't see it last night, I would highly encourage you, go to my video that I put out, because it gives you the micro, which gave you a lot of optimism here about what was going to happen today. But it also gives you a macro view of what's going on. And it was just a video from yesterday. Got 1,000 views, almost 160 likes. There's a good amount of comments, but it'll give you a macro perspective of where XRP can go. We'll talk about that as well today. But it definitely feels better than not like a day where we could have a little bit of upward volatility. It is what it is. We have some numbers coming out in a few days. The Dow started out getting hammered, down 700 points again. Down under 47K. S&P's down 1.25%. NASDAQ's down over 1.2% again. So money finds yield somewhere. So now we have to see if we can get through the start of the morning, which I feel pretty good about this morning. There's no guarantees in crypto, but it definitely seems like an imbalance is being played at. And we had a lot of descending wedges. With Algo, I simply did what I said I was going to do when it broke out and sold. I said once it back tested and showed that support touch, I was just going to buy it and ride it unless it broke it down. That's all I did. I'm not a genius by any means. I let the pattern speak for themselves, and the pattern spoke, and I've listened. That's it. I'm not a genius by any means. I just understand the charting, as far as from a technical aspect. So I really felt like this was going to be a nice volatile swing up this morning, and you know, we'll look at it day by day to see exactly how we're going. But if you guys are new, there's a pretty easy way to follow what I do, and it's this. So I'll put my hat on. It's a triple X Ha plus V strategy. However, I don't have all of the triple X Ha as it's a swing trading moment. So I weight it in different ways based on my own opinion, which kind of missed out a little bit on V-Chain just because of the way I did it. V-Chain should come up to that. If it does, up to the 7-8. But where it was at in a consolidation moment as well, kind of liked a couple of things to see how they push out. Because they even H-bar makes me think there's a wide inverse head and shoulders, and if this plays out properly, we could find ourselves up in the market. We could find some movements here that could be upwards of 30 to 40%. I know Dent did it, is up like 30-something%. Which if I would have had more time over the weekend, I could have talked about more. Somebody in the community actually gave me a heads up on that, and I wasn't able to read it until late. But I could see some big movements here if we can get the proper catapult. And right now, so far, so good. XRP in the 4-hourly, by the way, looks phenomenal. 4-hourly's barely through the neutral area, which tells me it's got a lot of freaking room here. We're just trying to get past the liquidity box, and then it opens it up. We have a technical move up to $1.38, and then ultimately, out of the descending wedge that was formed here, I still think it can get up towards that CME FEG breakaway gap. But that's neither here nor there when we look at the XRP futures, and I know we're bouncing around because these charts are so very important to understand them at each level. This is the real technical move that we're building. Up to about that 200-day at $1.53-ish. It looks great in the 4-hourly. Like, this looks great. This is exactly what I wanted to see it bouncing out of. So that's about a 12.5% movement. So that's nothing to shake your fist at. That's actually a very legit movement. But we have to make sure that we follow through. However, if that descending wedge doesn't break out, or it doesn't break down, we're going to cook here. It's that morning time volatility that we always talk about. So don't be surprised if we bounce around a little bit here. You know, we have to see if the market can hold through this volatility, obviously. So whenever I come on at this time, I always say, let's look at the volatility. Let's see how we pan out around 10 a.m. because this is the time of the morning where they like to grab you by the balls and squeeze them a little bit. So yeah, it's going to take some understanding because the market definitely likes to shake and bake around this time. So if you're finding an opportunity, it might be the best opportunity to find it around these early morning times as it's trying to consolidate and show. So I like what I'm seeing as of right now. But yeah, the hat, that was just to kind of give you an idea of what I do with the hat. But I'd rather just wear, I don't want to wear that right now. I'd rather just wear my Michigan hat. But don't take this as a grain of salt. You have to do your due diligence because Michigan did win the Big Ten championship in basketball regular season. They won yesterday against Michigan State, number 8, even though one of Michigan State's guys kicked us in the balls like they usually do. Pretty interesting. Start the game, he just gives a drop kick right to our guy's nuts. Drops him. Pretty funny the way the game started. It's not technically a correlation between the crypto and the stock market. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio. But yeah, there's definitely something to read into that this could be a short-lived rally. That's why when I came on, I said, let's see if we can get past the 10 o'clock hour. Otherwise, it could fall into something that invalidates itself. So that's what we're looking at today. We're trying to see if it invalidates, and we're going to find out very quickly if it does. Does it make me a little uncomfortable that the stock market is getting smashed? Oh, it does. And does it make me uncomfortable at these times in the morning? It sure does. That's why I said don't take anything as a grain of salt yet. So it's just, we're going to have to watch it. The market's getting hammered. You know, the market's getting hammered in the stock market. So I wouldn't, so I said we take these as swing trades. And if it breaks down, it breaks down. But I'm not staking nothing. I wouldn't stake anything. We're just trying to see if we can ride out of these back tests. These descending wedges actually broke out and are back testing now. So you should see a little bit of volatility. But at some point here, we should find some upward momentum if it's got any oomph. Cannabis Podcast says the XDC is heading down. It's possible. It's possible. You know? I don't know. It's possible that it's going to head down. It's possible everything's going to crash real hard. It just, we have to, we're kind of watching it as a moment here. So, only thing that should go up is oil. I mean, oil was up 25% yesterday. It's consolidating now. But yeah, oil has hit our first technical target here, and it's back testing it at 101. The next target was up here at 127, and it almost hit that already as well. So oil is just consolidating because it had such a volatile spike up. But yeah, oil is definitely a nice play the way it is moving. It's interesting though, because the oil mining or the oil exploration stocks haven't really done dick. So it's an interesting dynamic we're dealing with here. Silver's down a little bit. Platinum's down about 4.9%. Gold's down 1.87%. So this is the time of the morning though where we need to survive it with Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency. So I'll stay on this. We're gonna keep watching this as the morning unfolds. There's no doubt about it. I mean, currently just down a few percent. I don't know about the future. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, it's up. Today, XDC's barely up. It's up like just under 0.75%. So, we'll see how this shakes out this morning. We'll see if Bitcoin has any oomph left after that initial push up. This is the time when the manipulation usually starts, though, as we know. But it still hasn't come out to the 200-day. It hasn't filled out this move up to the right shoulder, in my opinion, because it should be up a little bit higher. I think if a right shoulder is built, it would look probably something like that, or at least close to it, which it looks like it's starting to build now. So, you know, nothing will surprise me because there's a shoulder, head, shoulder there. It just looked like it needed a little imbalance up, but, you know, we could come right back down. I don't have very wide margins here, so if we broke down just a tiny bit, it's just going to sell out what I had. So I'm not screwing around with the market that much. It's just opportunity comes a knocking. However, that opportunity, they can take it away very, very quickly in these markets. That's why it's not just a straight, okay, it's just going to break out here. You know, that's why it becomes a little nerve-wracking with the way the markets react all the time. Is that an inverted hammer? Maybe. But the way that this is pulling down, we're going to want to make sure this doesn't break the $1.35.6 area at the least and try to hold this initial attempted breakout. It's just what's going on in the stock market doesn't give you so much hope, especially if you're looking at a correlation between the crypto and the stock market. It's giving you actually a little bit of a viewpoint here that, hey, maybe things aren't right. You know, maybe it is going to follow that direction and narrative. So, you know, I would definitely, I would pay attention to exactly what you just said. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. But let's see if we can continue some of this. I want to see if we continue any of this consolidation to the upside, or if it just breaks down. If it breaks down here, we're going to find ourselves in another opportunity to the downside. We do have a little bit of liquidity in our favor, but again, it depends how the markets end up selling out. Crude, I think, is going to start pushing back up. It had a nice consolidation. So it's going to have to retest at the very least. And now is all money from the markets going into crude? That is another interesting dynamic there, because if money's being pulled out of risk assets and it's going into crude, we're going to find out in a very real way here this morning. We'll find out in a very real way. Bitcoin's future, when it came online, it didn't have to go through the noise of the weekend, but it's still got to get over what looks like it could be building a head and shoulders even here. Even though the 4-hourly's got a lot of room and we can push up, we've still got to do it. We've got to get past the recent high, and we've got to somehow push back towards 69K and start playing that level. So I'm very interested to watch this play out this morning. There's no doubt about it. I'm very intrigued to watch this play out. I'm excited to have all of us together as well. Would you talk about BlackRock issues with liquidity and possible implications? Juan, great question, and thanks for being in town. 2+ years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Bright future for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Elmer J. Fudd, good morning, and along with Crypto Cooter, thanks for being very trusted mods. Crypto Cooter and Tom's Army over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Yeah, with BlackRock, that's a big deal. They're a big asset managing firm, and a lot of people have a lot of money within those assets, and they're only allowing 5% withdrawals, and that's not 5% a day. That's 5% total if you have money in there. Even if you have $100 billion, they're only letting you take out 5% for this quarter. So you wouldn't be able to take out more until the next quarter. There's a set amount that they're willing to give out. It's not a pretty sight, to be honest. So they've got $40-50 billion in assets that people want to pull out. They wanted to pull out about 9 billion of them, and they said, go fuck yourself, basically. You only can take out 5%. Excuse my French, family-friendly show. Morning, Elmer. Good to see you in here, buddy. Silver Days, good morning. But yeah, they're only allowing 5% of withdrawals to be taken out, which is not cool. So anybody who's got their money sidelined in BlackRock as an asset manager, they're getting rocked right now. I mean, rocked. Hardcore rocked. So, but expect the unexpected with crypto today. It's not a one-to-one correlation with the stock market. I know a lot of people believe it is, but it's really not. A lot of times the government likes to invest in crypto when the stock market's getting destroyed, and then crypto will follow tomorrow probably. If we had any kind of rally, then it'll follow the stock market. But, you know, we've still got to make sure if this is just going to break down here. There's still an opportunity here that may go unnoticed in the risk asset. If we go to the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, it definitely tells us a lot. Look where that Crypto Fear and Greed Index is right now. Over the weekend, nobody was really taking advantage. Even what I talked about yesterday, it's down to 8. Which tells me even when there was an opportunity developing yesterday, like I was seeing, and who knows, maybe the opportunity's already been played out here and everything reversing that 5 to 7% from the bottom, that was the opportunity. Opportunity nonetheless, but I like where the extreme fear is at 8. I like how this looks. I love the fact, and I know not everybody's going to click because of my title, but guys, I promise you it was a strategic reason why I put this title and why I had this picture this morning. It's strategic as all hell. So the XRP max pain alert, $51 billion worth of XRP is underwater. It's 50.8 billion in unrealized losses. Are we at max pain? That means 36.8 billion XRP tokens are held at a loss right now. And over 4.4 million XRP holders in retail. Because I took out the top percentage holders in the institutions that held too many. And there's 4.4 million XRP holders are underwater right now. That's 36.8 billion XRP tokens. Nearly 66% of the circulating supply is red. That is excellent news for a run-up. I can't even explain to you how happy I am about that. I know it sucks because a lot of you might be underwater, but I'm telling you, you want to see that kind of figure to have some kind of unprecedented rally. I'm telling you right now, the more people underwater, the better chance there is of a rally because there's not so many people in profit. And some of these people are significantly underwater. I mean, significantly underwater. So I look at opportunity when most are running. So I felt an opportunity kind of like last week when the week started. And we'll just see if it pans out. It may not pan out, but I'm actually relatively excited about it, to be honest with you, to see how this plays out. I like the fact that so many people are underwater. Just at the point. Yeah, I don't pay attention to the coin market cap. It's unstable. I look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. That's a whole bound with the crypto index, with the cryptocurrency market. I don't ever look at coin market cap. It wavers too much. I don't trust it. That's just my own personal feeling. That doesn't mean I'm right. Give retail some of that government daycare money. Call it even. Yeah, no doubt. Mitch Shoot, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. Let's see. Matthew, good morning, my brother. Welcome in. Samurai, welcome to Demonic Corporations. Yeah. And you know what's funny? Baron Trump took out $30 million in oil 2 days before the war started. So he's made significant money. Significant money. Sola Jeffy, good morning, my brother. I'm glad to see you in here as well. I look forward to seeing everybody who's part of the class. We're going into phase 3 today, and it's going to talk about institutional money. Oh, it's going to talk about a lot of stuff. Good stuff, in fact. Really good stuff. But I mean, what is your guys' personal opinion about what's going on in the market? I really would love to know. I would love to know. I personally, I feel opportunity in my bones. I know we have to pay close attention to if it breaks down. But something tells me that things are not quite what they appear here in the market. Now, if we get rejected here and just break down, it would be one thing and we'd have to still look. Let's see. Yeah, it's unfortunate about the demonic things. It is unfortunate. Pamp up the likes. Yeah, we got 57 likes, 87 people. I can't really complain too much. Nor will I. I think we're all blessed to be here together. There's a lot of people dealing with some heartache. I seen Mrs. Stott ask about my stepsister. She's still in ICU. Well, I mean, she got moved out, but she's doing a lot better. For anybody who doesn't know, she had a C-section and they sent her home, and she had internal bleeding going on that they didn't realize, which it's an indictment on our medical system we're in right now. They don't give a fuck. Anyhow, she almost lost her life on Friday night into Saturday. She got rushed back, had an emergency operation. They were able to stop the bleeding. And then she was in ICU. I think she's still under intense observation. But yeah, she's at least recovering right now. So I appreciate that, Mrs. Stott. The question. Praying for your sister, Tom. Yeah, stepsister. She's doing it was an interesting rocky road. I know her mom got back home yesterday, so at least she was good enough to drive back from Ann Arbor. My stepmom, so they're back home. So, I mean, she's good enough to where they felt comfortable leaving. They were there for several nights. I know, Elmer. I mean, it is what it is. You guys know my opinion on the house system, but I don't want to go into it. It's just, I've dealt with stuff for my son, who's 6, almost lost his life twice because of their negligence. So, but there's no recourse. You can't do anything. Can't do anything. My opinion is this operation reminds me of the blah, blah, blah. As far as long it's going to take, I think the markets will continue to react to the uncertainty. I agree with that. The markets are definitely in a weird place. That's why I'm not convinced it's just going to go up. That's why I have a hesitancy of just wearing the hat, because people are going to come in and be like, he's just saying it's going up guaranteed. It's not that I'm saying that, but I do see the ability for it to go up. But at the same time, we're going to need to find some continuation here. With the way it's broken up, you would expect to get rejected at some point near the 200-day just to confirm it. It doesn't need to, but oftentimes that's what you'll find, some kind of reaction like that. So that's why I'm still looking for that kind of a reaction, especially with how XRP is playing out of this. For anybody who's here, just pay attention to the XRP futures. Like, you could take away all of the other charts and try to see if this plays out. If we can play out of this descending wedge, and if we put it in real time, the technical target is right about, let's put it in the exact moment, 152.55, which brings us right to the 200-day. So that's what it looks like, and it usually breaks out 70% of the move, and it looks like it's about 70% of the move on the back test. We even had a breakdown back to support at $1.3280. So it looks like it put in a shoulder, head, shoulder. Now it's like back testing it right now. It's really going to be interesting how it plays out here. It is really going to be interesting. Yeah. Is it throwing some off because the Dow's down another 830 points? Absolutely. Absolutely. And unfortunately, Mr. Stott, how you said the rockets and drones won't stop until we get boots on the ground, and we're going to have boots on the ground. It's unfortunate. There's some from our community that have messaged me. A few of them. Mr. John Hall, we continue to pray for guidance for your son, who they deployed him out, which means that they're absolutely doing boots on the ground because they're starting to deploy members. And I don't think this is going to be I don't think it's going to be a good thing with what's happening. Yeah, the surge If we're going to have a Clarity Act pass, it's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I can almost guarantee it, that this would be a short-lived rally. I would like to see it come up, and here's my reasoning for this. I would like to see it come up and play out that move to that breakaway gap, because if we could get back up to it, that would be our confirmation that we're still in a bear market. Now, can we get all the way up there? I don't know. We have to invalidate a couple different areas, but that would be an area that if you come back up to the breakaway gap and get rejected, it proves that we're still in a bear market, but it still comes up there in a way that it's telling you in a proactive way that we tried and we failed. I mean, if you're a trader, this is where you take advantage. You buy the breakout attempt, 70% of the move on the back test, and you have a clear double bottom W Gartley reversal. And it looks like if we can invalidate this structure to the top side, we're going to have some volatility to the upside. There is no doubt about it. There is no way around it, because we're breaking out of what is a very clear descending wedge here. It's a very clear one that it is breaking out of right now. So yeah, I know there's a lot of fear, but I can only go by the technicals, and that's why I bought yesterday. I know I've been swinging like a son of a bitch, like swinging like a monkey, but it's the only way you can approach a bear market. You find the areas of opportunity, and once they hit, you sell and you rebuy when it hits the back. So we sold at $1.44, and we waited for the breakout back test of that wedge, and it back test. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to fight any of this unless it tells me to resell, you know, on the assets. And the selling was on different assets for the most part, and then rebuying. But it's the way it goes in crypto. It's a very volatile market. And if you want to know more about the psychology so you can be a better trader, join the live classes. There's a link in the video description below and our pinned comments. There's so much more. You can play, just don't leave your money alone right now. Yeah, no joke. No joke. It's going to be 2 weeks just like the lockdowns. What do you mean by that, Cro-Magnon? Are you saying we're going to be locked down soon? Like in the lockdowns? I feel like we're going to get a lockdown across this country coming at some point here in the near term, because it's going to be they're going to use our safety. They're going to say there's too many secret cells, I think, in the USA, and they're going to have to lock us down for our own safety. Something's happening. There's too much going on that it can't. So, feels like something's going to happen. XLM is up 2.8% right now. Again, it's on the outside of what was a symmetrical triangle from the back end. And yeah, it's breaking up over the small section that we have, but there is an outward tug here that you can put it up a little bit higher. However, I think it's more appropriate to have it like this. The 200-day would be the next move up at 16.4 approximately. But again, we still have a lot of work to do here this morning, so don't just come in and think that it's going to happen no matter what. No time for war, Trump said a couple weeks ago, just like the lockdown. I think he means they said 2 weeks and it's going to be way long. Oh, I got you. I see what you're saying, Crow. I got you. In other words, be no more oil, basically. And isn't it kind of ironic that everybody's saying Trump was doing a good job based on the oil prices? And what do we keep saying? Don't base it on that. Now all of a sudden oil's at $101 a barrel. Have you guys looked at the pump lately? Can you still say the same thing about cheap gas? It's just not just that. Natural gas is going up crazy. The only sleeper cells around here are your friends. That's funny, Carl. Low. Carl, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So Badge. Rick, welcome in, buddy. I hope you're having a fantastic start to the day, and thanks for being a very trusted mod. 1970 Legend, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So Badge, and also another trusted mod. I got a lot of mods in here, love it. Elmer says, but oil will be a great investment. How could it not hit 150 if the missiles blow up more oil fields? 200. That is definitely $250 is not off target. Just we had to clear this first area at 101, which we have now, and we're back testing. The next area would be right around that 125, which we came close, but there's still an imbalance here, so it could come down hard still and then rebound back up. It all depends how they decide to play it. But we've had a phenomenal pullback of we had about a 20% almost pullback. And now it's starting to work its way back up. I warned about gold, silver, platinum, commodities in this time, especially if oil was going to move. We talked about how you got to be very careful with this kind of stuff. Platinum, has done quite a different, it's been going up and down. It was all the way down to 2024 on Friday. Or I mean on Sunday when the futures opened. And now it's pushed its way back a little bit. So, but we need to see if gold and silver and all the rest are in these head and shoulders patterns. That's what we're really watching out for with gold, silver. They all have this head and shoulders setup that unless it's invalidated, you got to be very careful. In fact, silver created a little head and shoulders on the right shoulder. So money finds yield somewhere. So where is that yield going to be felt? Is it going to be felt in crypto? Which it looks like as of right now, some money is absolutely trying to find yield here. Now, nothing major. XRP is only up 2%. But it is going to dabble around here for a while until we can figure out, is this actually going to break out? Which everything by a technical indicator is telling us we should break out here. We should break out here. Not a grand scale, let's get back into the bull market. But it's definitely telling us there's a better than not opportunity based on how the futures chart looks through the CME. Based on how we look at on that descending wedge and symmetrical triangle that's to the top side, but the descending wedge on this next chart, it's speaking of the fact that we should bounce out of here. Like there should be some upward volatility now. With the way that the manipulation and trading bots and algorithms happen, is it a guarantee? Absolutely not. And would I be surprised if it broke down? Unfortunately, no. But as of right now, I'm aiming towards the up direction. We're aiming to the upside. If we look at the all-time chart for XRP, I think it also points to some things. We have the all-time cup and handle. So from a macro perspective, we look absolutely awesome. It's just that micro with the descending triangle until it breaks down. We do have a technical target down at 86.6. Yeah, shit, but again, I've spoken this before. All these movements would be volumeless push-ups because it's not the technical move back into a bull market. It's just we're going to have this imbalance taken care of. And these little gap areas over the top, that's all. But yeah, there's not enough volume to flip this into a bull market. I agree with that. But these push-ups you're seeing were supposed to be volumeless. And we've been talking about it for anybody who's been here. If you're new, you wouldn't be privy to that information, but you're going to start to be privy to it the more you watch. The other thing is water's becoming one of the most sought after commodities. And the reason why, if you think Bitcoin mining was a strain on energy, these data centers built for AI get so freaking hot and they put off so much radiation and just bad frequencies. They use an extraordinary amount of water to keep them cool so that they can run. It's unbelievable, but what it puts back into the ground is very dangerous. So it's gonna be an issue. Your physical silver is doing mine too. But that's not what I was speaking of. I was speaking of buying it towards the topping parts when it was at the high areas. I was trying to save people their purchasing power. Let's see. Underground data centers stay cool. Yeah, but they're not underground. The ones they want to build in cities, unfortunately. The ones we don't really get to see, absolutely, I agree with you. Yeah, I know that should work great. Who needs water? I know. It's a pretty crazy time we're living in, though, folks, isn't it? It's a pretty crazy time we're living in. But I love that comment, Andrew. And thanks for being in town on your second month with Dust House Crypto. That's a great comment. You actually are privy to some things because not everybody understands what you just said. Not everybody understands. Now, I'd like to read about the underwater holders, but I still think it's a good thing. So XRP price faces pressure as $50 billion turns underwater. So XRP price nearing $1.35. Fresh on-chain data shows nearly $50 billion worth of XRP has moved underwater. So the on-chain data shows pressure across the network. While the broader crypto market remains uncertain, several underlying indicators are beginning to reveal shifts beneath the surface. Large portions of the XRP supply are now sitting at a loss. Trading momentum on major exchanges has slowed, and the asset itself is compressing within a tightening technical structure. As a result, analysts are now, who gives a rat's ass about the analyst? A large portion of XRP supply is now underwater. According to Glassnode data tracking the total supply and loss metric, approximately 36.8 billion XRP tokens are now trading below the price. And I did a little bit further detail. That's 4.4 million retail holders are underwater. Are now trading below the price at which they were acquired. At current market prices, that translates to nearly 50 billion in unrealized losses across the network. This indicator measures how much of a cryptocurrency circulating supply is currently held at a loss. Rising supply and loss typically occurs during market corrections when investors who bought near local highs begin to see their positions move underwater. However, historically, such phase can also signal late-stage corrections where weaker hands exit positions while longer-term investors gradually accumulate. In previous market cycles, spikes in underwater supply have often appeared near major market turning points, though such signals rarely play out immediately. Alongside rising unrealized losses, trading activity across major exchanges also begin to slow, which you want to see slowing as the price continues to depreciate because that means selling pressure is tapering off. XRP volume Z-score on Binance shows the indicator recently falling to around negative 1.16. The volume Z-score compares current trading activity with historical averages, helping analysts identify abnormal spikes or declines in market participation. These are important things to consider. A negative reading suggests that current trading volumes are below the historical norm, indicating reduced speculative activity in the market. Periods of declining trading volume often occur when markets enter consolidation phases where traders temporarily step back and liquidity begins to thin. Historically, these quieter market conditions have sometimes preceded larger volatility moves once momentum returns. The XRP price coiling near key support. XRP is currently trading within a descending channel pattern, reflecting the broader consolidation phase underway. For the past few sessions, XRP token price has been hovering near key support region between $1.30 and $35, which has recently acted as a short-term demand zone. At the same time, a descending resistance trend line continues to cap upside attempts, keeping the broader corrective structure intact. If buyers manage the break above the resistance line, analysts suggest the next potential resistance could emerge near $2, which would make sense if we broke through to the top side. But you'd have to break through the breakaway CME and FVG up near $1.70, which could present a problem. Also, the descending resistance from the descending triangle at $1.56 could also present a problem, as the 200-day and the 4-hourly at the $1.53 level could also present some issues and resistance. But I'd like to see exactly how that happens. So that's something that we'll pay attention to. We got the CPI that we need to make sure we pay attention to. Whoops. There was one more thing I wanted to discuss. So the U.S. banking lobby weighs lawsuit against OCC over crypto fintech national trust charters report. So I mean, that's something we'll have to watch. We'll wait for more news to come out about that. We have the CPI report on the 11th, so we'll be able to see the consumer's price index, the CPI, see if it comes over or below. So that's something we have to watch as well. Up till Wednesday, March 11th, you got 2 days, retest by the 26th to 1st. April Fools possibly. I like that comment as well, though. Good insight. Government used retail's money to build the infrastructure and inauguration for... Absolutely. And they continue to use retail money as exit liquidity because, a lot of retail's underwater and, it is what it is. But if we're not oblivious to it, we can kind of make some kind of parallel movement. Now, it's going to take a while today. We're going to have to watch this very closely as the day continues and see if we can make some movement out of this. As of right now, it's trying, but we're right in that liquidity box. We got to get past it. Got to get past that short-term movement. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. So, and it had a pretty wide breakdown out of this, and then it pulled back up. So, we'll see. Not really doing much as of yet, but we're holding through the tricky part of the morning, which is actually very key for a continuation. What am I missing? XDC's up. Well, it's moving up right now. We talked about it at the start, but it's starting to move up a little bit. The opportunity would still be, I mean, you'd have to risk if you're going to sit through this whole way. It's about a 5.41 risk to reward. It's got a 7.3% downside risk. And the upside right now, the upside return could be as much as 39.9% if it played out completely. So you're risking 7% to try to make 39. That's not horrible. A 5.45 to 1 ratio is not bad. You're looking for about a 2.5 to 3 to 1 risk reward. And this presents a 5.45. Now, there's no guarantee it plays out. It's just something we've been watching. We only had to adjust the downside risk because this downtrending, broadening, expandable wedge, it looks like, which is bullish consolidation, created that, and then it created another one within, came back down and back tested it here. It seems like it's back testing that initial movement. 4 hourly's got a lot of room to work still. So yeah, it's tricky. Carl, no volume at all, and that is going to be continuing to be an identifiable point. But I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll continue to say it. These moves are not indicative of volume. This would be volumeless moves up. It's basically just the trading algorithm shutting off the sells for a short amount of time. Right on cue, U.S. law enforcement warns Iran may be activating sleeper cells. What did I say at the start? How did I say we were going to be locked down? I've been pushing the point of the sleeper cells, that they were going to use that to lock us down. Did I not say that? Cannabis Podcast. It's almost unbelievable that they said that now. And we've been preaching that. Again, with Cannabis Podcast, though, make sure you go to his channel. Put out a great piece of information that I got to finish watching. But it's an absolutely great piece of info. I actually I enjoyed seeing it if they even show the Cannabis Podcast stuff, because they hinder it a lot. So I'll have to go through my subscribers. But they put out, and I need to watch it. Actually, I absolutely enjoyed the one 2 weeks ago. I can't even express it. I'm so happy it got a couple hundred views as well. That one kind of, you're looking for some kind of abnormality. You had the Cannabis year in review had 960 views. You see you got stuck in the lower views. But then this one almost broke out to 200, which means something's going on there. The algorithm liked you, or people liked you within your own community now. I really liked that video too. I watched the whole thing through. I need to go through and rewatch it. Some of them I've already watched. It doesn't show it, but I reset my whole save stuff, so that's why it doesn't show them watch. I went through all these videos. The next one, I think this is going to be tremendous. I'm going to actually share it with my community. And I know the Cannabis Podcast, him and his, the one he does the podcast with, they're starting to gain some subscribers here, and it's not easy. They're up to almost 600 subscribers. So if you want to support the Cannabis Podcast, please just subscribe. Make a subscription. It's hard for this category to be pushed around, but this is going to be a great topic of, and I'm going to save it as well. It's a great topic. This is a good one. This is a very good one. So I'm very interested to see about liver and how it can help reverse some liver damage and things like that. So, and they're not just going to talk about smoking the cannabis. They go very deep into getting the medicinal parts of it as well. Even if you got to get the oils out of it, they teach you how to do some things. And they don't sugarcoat it. They don't lie. They're not trying to get views. So I'm very happy about that. And I like seeing that the views were up by 4 times. That doesn't seem like much, maybe to the onset, but as somebody who knows how this analytical approach, when you start to see that kind of a rise in a video, you've hit a nerve, a good nerve, a really good one. So keep up the good work, Cannabis Podcast. Let your buddy know who does the podcast with you that you guys are doing a great job, and I continue to watch. And I really appreciated the last episode a lot. It actually gave me a lot of good information. Soul says, I say push up until noon, but up until 311 seems plausible. I think that if we're going to push up, it could push up until that movement on the 11th, because that's when the CPI data gets released. So that I agree with that, actually, to be honest with you guys. I agree that could be where it could push up until, to be honest with you. That's something I've been watching myself. And it sometimes lines up with the CPI, and that's only on Wednesday, so it's not like it's going to be this incredibly long movement here. you feel what I'm saying. And I just keep looking at these order books, and every time it wants to sell off, there's not really a lot to the down. I mean, right now, there's some opportunities here. I'll tell you what. I'll continue to stress being careful, but there's definitely, there's something definitely going on here, possibly. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. There's no guarantees in this market, obviously. But I like how Bitcoin's stabilized here. It's back up over where it's at. Sailor bought another 1.3 billion, that old 13 number again. Absolutely. Skill Robos. Yep, I said the same thing. I feel like 3 in the morning, it should start breaking down around the 11th. I don't disagree with that at all. I don't disagree with that at all. Spoiler, most, if not all, the science and tech comes out of Israel, interestingly, which is touchy. Oh, that is truly touchy. That is a touchy, definitely touchy. You're right about that. But I mean, if the info comes, the info comes. Plants are God's gift. I agree with that. They were put here for a reason, that's for sure. For holistic healing. Now, Bitcoin, while we still have time together, because I gotta go at about an hour because I have to teach my class today, and I gotta do about an hour of work before it starts, or 30 to 40 minutes, I should say. Your mom is Jewish, so you might get a pass. Oh yeah, see, cannabis buy. There you go. Basic training, military diet, and exercise reduce everything's fat. Yeah, no doubt about that. I've been working on that myself over the past couple of years to, lean out and burn the fat and stuff like that. I had a nice workout this morning as well. I definitely am seeing some nice gains here the last few weeks. I don't even know if it's noticeable to the, oh, I guess it is. That my arm looks a lot bigger now, I think. But I had a great workout today. I've been doing the 16 hours of fasting for the last almost 4 years. My workouts have been on point. I didn't even take a break this weekend. I was bad. I worked out all weekend. But yeah, it's been something. My diet's changed a little bit here over the past couple of weeks again, which is in the good way. Not that it was horrible, but definitely noticed my face might be getting a little smaller, which is a good sign. Because a lot of times you get the fat in your face or the water that puffs up. So it's not even really fat, but you get puffy in the face. What else? What else? What else can we discuss here? Oh, let's take a look at, let's see. Algo. Man, at some point, this descending wedge should break out. Because it's 70% of the move. It back tested nicely. Nice Gartley reversal, it looks like. 943 would be around the chopping block. You see an arm? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I actually started a great back workout with my dumbbells in a different way yesterday. And man, hits the upper back where you shrug. Hits the middle to lower, which I have problems with because of my broken back that I suffered at 23, 19 years ago now. I do high reps, very mediocre weight. So like I like to do when I do my tricep pull downs, and then I do them inverted as well. Instead of doing high rate of or high weights to keep from injury, I do a lot of reps. So I will do 40 reps outer. I'll move it into a tight grip and do 25. Move it back out, and then I put my hand like this. Instead of holding the grip like this, I'll hold it like this and come down. And I'll do 15, 15. So on the outer and then more inner. Instead of doing like 10. So I do it like that. I wish I could use a sauna, but there's nowhere. I don't have a membership anywhere for a sauna, as I built my gym now in the backyard. As you guys know, I did some creative work last summer into the winter time, and I'm just very happy that it survived the winter and it's waterproof. It stayed down. We had a lot of bad storms. But yeah, low to medium weight, that's how I like to do it with high reps. And I've gained so much more muscle doing it like this than I ever did when I was younger with higher weights and less injuries. Um, I loved the sauna when I used to use it. That was the sole reason I had a membership years ago at Lifetime Fitness, was for the sauna. I just don't trust like the things they tell you to build for the saunas, because I feel like the material that you use, like when it gets into high, aren't you just breathing in the bad chemicals? Rick Simpson. Cannabis, there's a Canadian named Rick Simpson who talked about, isn't he the one who created is he the one who created the RSO oils? My hero. Um, yeah, he's a great stuff there with the RSO oils, no doubt about it. I actually have some Rick Simpson oil, RSO. Obviously, he's not the creator of this one, but you got to find one that doesn't have all the chemicals. What about Solana? I don't like Solana. I've made money on it in the past, but Solana is it's the pump and dump token of the elite. So you got to be really careful with it, and you got to watch it very closely. But yeah, the Rick Simpson oil is phenomenal. You can even buy like little things that you can take like the pieces from it. Where did this go? It must have fallen when I was moving my desk. Ah, shit. Where'd it go? I always have it up here, because I take it every day. Oh, here it is. And this one's the Rise RSO. And it's got everything, THC, CBD, CBGA, THCA, CBC, CBN, CBG, THCV. But there's no bullshit in it. So you have to find the ones where they don't add anything. Because a lot of them, they put these weird chemicals. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't eat gummies anymore because they started to put the red, yellow, and all these different dyes in it. So I can't eat the gummies because they all have dyes in it. Unless you find particular ones that don't, which is pretty difficult, honestly. But I've noticed that they started to taint the supply with the dyes in them, unfortunately. Crow Magnon, for your sister, I do hope she makes a full recovery. Thank you. Gotta go. Have a great day. You too, my friend. You too, Crow. Have a blessed day, and thank you for that support. Yeah, my stepsister, she's doing a lot, well, not a lot better, but at least she's not, it's not life-threatening at this point, but, you know, I don't trust the health system, so. Yeah, Solana is absolutely a venture capital play. Who said that? Great comment, Cannabis Podcast. You understand. But what a great live. If you guys want to be part a little bit deeper, you can always join Tom's Army, pay it forward. Paying it forward simply means commenting as well. And you guys have done a phenomenal job being on the same page. I love the tone today. I love the mindset that everybody's in here today. We're trying to help each other. We're positivity over negativity. In a world filled with so much hate, we can be a shining and bright light with that helpful hand. I truly believe that. And I'm very, very appreciative of our community. Seeing over 100 people here today was nice, especially in the morning. I know the times are different now because our clocks moved ahead an hour. So are you just going to keep going with lives, or at some point will you start over? What do you mean? Elmer, what are you saying? Tom, don't smoke it. Put an 1/8 of an inch drop under. What do you mean? Short on Sunday, long on Monday seems like the norm. It definitely is starting to look like that for a moment. Elmer, what do you mean I'm trying to figure out what you were talking about. I'm sorry, did I miss something? Oh, yeah, yeah, that's what I do with the RSO. I don't smoke it. I put drops under my tongue, absolutely. That's what I do. Good comment. Sorry, I was just making sure. Oh, for the classes, are you just going to keep going with lives, or at some point will you start over? Um, for the yeah, I'm gonna keep doing the lives and the classes. And then they'll be played out for everybody else after. They'll be posted after. But yeah, I'm gonna continue with the live classes indefinitely. I'm gonna keep doing the classes indefinitely. I have no plans of stopping them. I'm gonna keep doing them. I want to build that database as big as possible, with as much content as possible. And the beauty is today we're going to the next chapter. Here we go, rigged up, they say, they will say, and they're right. Yep. Yep, that's true. That is very true. I like how in tune everybody is this morning. Can I say, when we're all on the same frequency, there's nothing we can't achieve, folks. I think we're on a good frequency. Yeah, I'm gonna keep up with the classes in the same way we are. So yeah, I'm not gonna change that. Mondays and Wednesdays, 12 to 1. However, for some of you, it might be 1 to 2 now if you're in a different country, if your clocks don't move. So it might actually help. I don't know. But in the USA, all of our clocks went forward on Sunday at about 3 a.m. But yeah, what a beautiful. Honestly, this made me very happy, this live to start the week. Where you have a nice energy. Hopefully, I'll be able to come back later. If I can remember and have the time, I will put out a 10 to 15 minute update going over everything we've talked about with the information and jam pack it with info. Like you seen yesterday in the video, it got a great response, that video yesterday. Over 1,000 views, which I was happy about. Very happy about. And one other thing, if you guys want to watch Julie's venture, she's really good at what she does. And I had been encouraging her for a while to start a YouTube channel. And she finally did. And I think it started off, it hit the ground running, actually, which was nice. Her first video, I know some of you watched as well. Where is this at? If you want to, I'm not saying you have to. Wait a minute. I gotta go back to what I was watching. But her first video got 1,300 views. Did pretty fucking well, 1,400. So if you want to follow her stuff, make sure you do. This one's got about 10 views, but it's a longer video and it goes through like a speed build. But she put a lot of work into it. A lot of time, she does a great job. If anybody's interested in The Sims, 11 views now. So I'll share it with you guys if you guys want to take a look at Julie's stuff. This is Julie's page. I think she got 9 subscribers on her first day, which was great. But yeah, anybody who wants to get away from everything and wants to kind of, pay attention and watch what Julie's doing, she'd greatly appreciate it. It's positivity. A lot of cool stuff in there. I've watched 11 minutes of this video too, but she did a phenomenal job. She got a phenomenal amount of views for the first video on YouTube. Hopefully I was able to help her a little bit by pushing it out a little bit. But it's definitely done a great job. She's done a great job. She got 1,300 views there. She got more views yesterday than I got on my video, my short, believe it or not. She's phenomenal with this kind of stuff. She's been playing it for many, many years. It's her salvation. She likes to get lost in The Sims. And I enjoy watching her and helping her. I helped her create the page and I came up with the picture for her, believe it or not, based on her stuff. Yeah, so I tried to use what I knew to help her out in the beginning. So, but she does all the work. I just kind of tried to share it out a little bit. So, I was drinking last night, and that video made my head spin. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, a lot of chocolates and stuff are very poisonous. Now you gotta buy the vanilla cocoa bean if you want to do chocolate. That's just my opinion. Yeah, let's see how the volatility works this morning, right? Let's just see how the volatility goes this morning. That's all we can do. As of right now, I like what I'm seeing, but I can always, well, our opinions can be changed very quickly in these markets, as you guys know. Just watch for the levels. If XRP is over $1.35, no harm, no foul, because we're over that futures level. And then that would be the upward momentum to $1.52. But we do have to hold approximately that $1.35 level, which we are right now. And the 4 hourly's got so much room for XRP right now that I feel pretty comfortable with this. Until otherwise noted. If the charts change and it tells me that, hey, it's no longer looking good. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, that makes perfect freaking sense. With the classes, are you going back to like step 1, class 1 and reteach? Or do people when joining just watch the older videos and ask questions from there? Um, right now, until we can get some distance between the start, because this is only the start of the 6th week, I will be teaching, but I will go back at some point and retouch and rehash what we've already gone over. I don't know exactly when, but that makes a lot more sense. Now I understand what you're saying. It makes more sense in my head what you were asking. I'm sorry, I was having a hard time rationalizing in my head. But right now you go back and you watch, and you can see what the comments are within the videos, and you catch yourself up. But yeah, there will come a time when I would absolutely do that. Go back but it would probably be I would have a special day for the class where we'd go back and touch on what we've already went over. So maybe we would do it on a Friday. That's something I've been floating around, an additional Friday class every so often just to kind of touch base and catch up and things like that. It's a great question, actually. That's a great question. We have, surprisingly, we still have, including myself, 44 people in the classes, which means only one person left and got a refund. They didn't even try to watch the classes. They got them, and then they got a refund right when they started for some reason. But maybe they just couldn't make it, so I can't judge too harshly. But we have a great support system there as well. Keep the gas tanks full. Prices going up. Oh, they sure are. Those prices are going up phenomenally. And right now we're going to see if that 101 is a support or resistance initially. And then we'll see if we have to touch down at all. That's all. Nothing major. The mining stocks they've been getting hit lately. Let's see where they are right now. I got to go, though, because I got to create this. I want to make sure that I do this properly for my class. B2 Gold's down almost back to $5. Remember, I went to $6 briefly. It's almost down. It's over $1 down now from there. Just about 4 trading sessions. Crazy. First Majestic down another 3. That's come down from over 30. I want to join, but mom's cancer slowed process, so I wanted to know how it was going to work. I can join now, but don't want to be behind. Oh, I mean, it's not that you'll be behind. You just have to go back and watch, what's already been out there. That's why I put the full things out there on YouTube. And you're going to get a great topic of discussion. You're going to see everybody's comments. You're going to see how I respond. And I encourage people to ask questions so when somebody comes back later to watch them, they're not out of the loop. There's not a lot of discussion in the actual class. There might be a few questions from the audience, from the class members, but it's not an overwhelming amount of back and forth. It's basically like you'd be in a classroom. So, and I think you can pick it up pretty quickly. Yes, there's a lot of learning, but you don't have to know what we've went over to see the next phase. Phase 3 is going to knock some socks off today. I guarantee it. We'll continue to pray for your mom, for the guiding light from Yahweh and Yahshua, Emmanuel, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for that guiding hand, as we do for Mighty Marcus, for Mr. John Hall's son who got deployed, as we like to look over all military members because we're all in different countries. Believe it or not, we're at war with some of my favorite members right now who live in Iran and Israel. So they're going through it right now. Absolutely, ask questions. I go over every video to see who's asking questions. If there's any in real time, and I have no problem answering them in real time. No doubt. No doubt. You can ask a question as much as you want. I can even put together a list of questions and do a random live through that section if I have to. I have no problem doing that either. So, But yeah, I look forward to seeing you in there. No doubt about that. I would love to see you in there and everybody else who wants to be involved. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do my due diligence for the class today, and then I will see anybody who's in the class. And then after, I still plan on doing more content today to update us about what's going on the charts. So I won't be too far away. I won't be too far away at all. Make sure you watch the short, even if you can't watch this whole live or things like that. And yeah, the more people we can have pushing this, we only try to gain 1 or 2 members each day to become part of the core. It's a struggle when we're in a bear market, but there are new members each and every day that start to become a voice. So we're looking for